That bobbing little head looks almost silly until you realize what it is doing. Every step freezes the world into clearer pieces, every peck balances food against danger, and every pause is a tiny decision quietly right beneath your eyes. Welcome to the Pigeon Mind. Stay until the end because the city pigeon is not wandering aimlessly. It is solving the street in plain sight. You have watched pigeons 1,000 times, walking, pecking, and bobbing along the pavement. And you have probably thought, like most people do, that they look a little dumb. They shuffle, they bob their heads, and they seem to wander without much purpose. It is easy to assume that not much is happening inside that little head. But that one assumption is completely and utterly wrong, and it misses something genuinely, quietly astonishing. Because right in front of you, that pigeon is doing something you never noticed. Every step it takes, every bob of its head, is part of a clever system. It is constantly calculating, reading, and adjusting its behavior far faster than you could ever realize. What looks like aimless wandering is actually a stream of tiny smart decisions. The dumb little bird you dismiss is quietly solving problems all day long. So let us slow it all down and finally see what it is really doing. Once you notice it, you can never again see a city pigeon the same way. Start with the strangest thing of all, the constant, rhythmic, endless bobbing of its little head. To us, it looks faintly comical, almost as if the silly bird simply cannot keep its own head still. Most people assume it is just a silly quirk or a meaningless nervous habit. But that head bob is one of the cleverest tricks in the entire bird world. The real secret is that the pigeon's head is not actually bobbing back and forth at all. In truth, the clever pigeon is holding its head almost perfectly still in the surrounding space. Watch closely, and you see two distinct phases, a thrust and then a hold. First, the head shoots quickly forward, darting ahead of the slowly and steadily moving body. Then the head locks in place, perfectly still, while the body catches up. So the head holds steady again and again as the body walks beneath it. And in each of those still frozen moments, the pigeon takes one clear, perfectly stable look around. This clever trick keeps its vision sharp, freezing the whole world into clear, steady, readable frames. If the head simply moved along smoothly, the whole street scene would blur into useless smeared streaks. So the bob is really a brilliant trick for seeing clearly while moving. It is honestly the very same problem that human engineers now solve using expensive stabilized cameras. The pigeon solved it with its own neck millions of years before we did. So what looks to us like a dumb little twitch is actually a piece of precise visual engineering. The very thing that you once mocked is in truth a quiet masterpiece of elegant natural design. Even newborn chicks develop this same precise bobbing as they learn to walk. The head bob is only the first hidden skill working right before your eyes. While the pigeon casually walks and feeds, it is also constantly and quietly calculating risk. With every single stable glance, it scans carefully for threats in almost every direction at once. Its side-facing eyes give it a view almost all the way around itself. So even while it is pecking down at the ground, it is still watching the entire scene around it. It quietly tracks every moving person, every passing dog, and every approaching car anywhere nearby. For each one of them, it runs a quiet, almost instant calculation of the possible danger. How close is it right now? How fast is it going? And is it moving toward me or safely away? It carefully weighs the risk of staying put against the real cost of flying away far too soon. If it flees too early, it simply wastes its precious limited energy on a needless false alarm. But if it flees too late, the real danger may already have come far too close. So it must judge the exact right moment to stay calm or to escape. It quietly makes this same fine judgment hundreds of times over in a single, ordinary hour. Each calm little peck at the ground is really a small calculated bet on its own safety. That confidence you see is not laziness, it is a careful risk judged worth taking. The calm pigeon at your feet is quietly running the math of survival. Now watch carefully how a city pigeon actually goes about searching for its food on the ground. It may look to us like purely random pecking, but it is far more organized than that. The pigeon is quietly using strategies that biologists formally call optimal foraging behavior. The simple underlying goal is to gain the most possible food for the very least wasted effort. A city pigeon quickly learns exactly which spots most reliably offer the very best food rewards. It clearly remembers where the crumbs gather near park benches, bins, and busy outdoor cafe tables. It learns the timing of it all too, knowing when those rich spots are freshly restocked with food. So it pointedly arrives at the cafe, right at the moment when the lunchtime crumbs begin to appear. It carefully balances the richness of a spot against just how crowded that same spot has become. A crowded spot always means more competition, and so a much smaller share of food for each bird. So it may well leave a busy crowded patch for a quieter one that offers it better odds. These are genuinely real, economic decisions being made quietly inside one tiny feathered head. The little bird is weighing effort, reward, competition, and danger, all of it together at once. What looks to us like mindless pecking is really a constant, careful, ongoing cost-benefit analysis, and it adjusts the whole strategy almost instantly as the situation around it keeps changing. So the feeding pigeon is not aimlessly wandering at all, it is quietly working a clever little plan. A city pigeon is also constantly and carefully reading the people moving all around it. It steadily learns to tell apart the genuinely dangerous people from all the harmless ordinary ones. It quietly reads your walking speed, your direction, and even the angle of your whole moving body. A slow and calm walker is quietly judged by the bird as little or even no threat at all. A fast or sudden jerky movement instantly puts the ever-watchful little bird on high alert. It even carefully reads the direction that your eyes and your face happen to be pointing. A direct fixed stare can feel to the bird exactly like the focus of a hunting predator. So a pigeon that is stared at directly often grows visibly uneasy and quietly edges itself away. The pigeon also quietly maps the whole space around it, looking for quick and clear escape routes. It always tries to keep clear open sky and easy exits somewhere close and within quick reach. It very rarely lets itself get fully boxed in, with no quick and easy way left to flee. So even where a pigeon simply chooses to stand is itself a quiet and careful safety decision. It reads the moving crowd, the passing traffic, and the open spaces, all of it, together at once. And it folds all of this into one smooth, constant flow of decisions. The little bird navigating your busy street is really a quietly, genuinely expert urban operator. But here, as always, we should pause and stay carefully and clearly honest. When we say that the pigeon calculates, it is not, of course, consciously doing any arithmetic. It is not sitting and deliberately reasoning things out in the careful way that a thoughtful person would. These are simply fast instincts and learned habits, finely owned by long evolution and daily experience. The cleverness is real, but it is a different kind than our own. It is really the practical genius of an animal that is perfectly tuned to its own difficult world. We really should not imagine some tiny little mathematician sitting and ticking away inside its head. But we also should not dismiss it as a mindless, witless little pest. The honest truth sits quietly, somewhere in between instinct, learning, and genuine practical skill. And that honest truth is far more interesting than the lazy insult, dumb. No exaggeration at all is needed here. The simple plain reality is impressive more than enough alone. It is just a small brain doing many genuinely smart things quietly, all at the very same time. So the next time you see a pigeon, stop and truly watch it closely. Watch the head bob closely and look carefully for that one perfectly still, frozen, held moment. See how the head locks in place while the little body walks beneath. Then watch its little eyes and see just how constantly it scans and rescans the whole scene. Notice how it pecks, then checks, then pecks again, never fully off guard. Watch closely how it chooses exactly where to feed and exactly where it decides to stand. Try walking toward it, fast and very direct, and then watch carefully how soon it reacts. Then approach it slowly and very calmly and see just how much closer it actually allows you. You are quietly watching a constant, hidden, flowing stream of intelligent little decisions. Decisions about its vision, about its safety, about its food, and about the space all around it. All of it unfolding quietly and constantly in plain sight right there in front of you. And once you finally learn to see it, you simply can never again unsee the hidden cleverness. And so the dumb little bird slowly and quietly transforms into something really quite remarkable. You slowly realize that you were simply never once paying close enough attention to it, so the city pigeon was never the dumb little bird you assumed it was. It was always quietly and genuinely competent, working hard right there before your unseeing eyes, stabilizing its own vision with a head bob so clever that we later copied the idea in our machines. Quietly calculating its risk hundreds of separate times within a single, perfectly ordinary hour. Foraging with real strategy, carefully weighing effort, reward, competition, and danger all together, and reading the moving people, the passing traffic, and the open space, all of it at once. None of it is ever loud or showy, which is honestly the exact reason that you always missed it. The whole cleverness of it was always quiet, humble, and completely hidden, right there in plain sight. It is not affection, it is certainly not showing off, and honestly, it is not for us at all. It is simply a small clever animal surviving rather cleverly in a genuinely difficult urban world. And that quiet, hidden competence truly deserves, at the very least, our honest respect and attention. The very bird that you called dumb was quietly outperforming you in ways that you never once saw. It was seeing the whole world more widely, more sharply, and far more watchfully than you ever did. So I will leave you with one simple thing to try this very week. Find just one pigeon walking and feeding calmly somewhere on a quiet stretch of city pavement. Watch only its little head at first and try hard to spot that perfectly still, frozen held phase. Then widen your gaze and watch how it scans and where it chooses to step. Tell me what you noticed about the bob, the scanning, and the careful choices. And tell me whether your old tired idea of the dumb little pigeon has finally begun to change. Because once you truly watch, you see a small, quiet, capable mind at work. Small mind doing many genuinely clever things at once, right out in front of absolutely everyone. It was hidden in plain sight, quite simply because almost no one ever once bothered to truly look. Slow down just once and watch the quiet genius of the city pigeon. You will never again walk past a single one in quite the same careless, unseeing way again. The proof of it was always right there, performing quietly, directly in front of your own eyes. You had simply, at long last, finally learned exactly how to truly see it.